Welcome to the 2021 Barflies season. We're going to get into the team a little bit with your Barflies breakdown with Coach Pete. I don't know very much about the team other than the fact that it's baseball. And so we're going to talk about it and we're going to learn everything that there is to learn about the Bochum Barflies. Pete?
Yeah.
Hi.
So, hey, thanks for joining and thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm really excited about the season here. Baseball in Germany is one of those things where you don't really think about it when you're thinking German and sports. You really think, with the Euro going on right now, you're really thinking German soccer teams and how they go through. And so this is my 15th season with baseball in Germany. Started with Herne, and I joined then the Barflies a few years back, and now coach of the team as well as part of the management group. So excited to be here.
That's great. Well, it's been a complicated past year for everybody, but especially for sports teams, because it's so important to be able to get together and practice. And I'd like to hear a little bit about what you guys were able to do over these last few months to start to get ready for this season. Just a quick overview and sort of what you're doing now. How are you transitioning from that into getting ready to actually play baseball together? I mean, it's nice. Baseball's kind of socially distant anyways, but how are things progressed now, and how are you getting ready to move forward into the regular season?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So with all of the lockdowns that happened, we kind of had to stop around November, stop all of our training programs. It wasn't until early March that we were allowed to get back together. And even then, it was just a really limited set of training that we could do because we were limited to groups of two, and those two people had to be separated from a distance. And each of those groups also had to be separated by a much larger distance. So you can imagine really all that we could train for was just kind of keep in shape, get the ball thrown across, maybe a little bit of hitting drills and things like that, but really it was limited. It also had to be outdoors, so in March, the weather,
That's a challenge.
Yeah. So that's kind of that was the goings of it for a long time, for a few months. And it wasn't until recently the numbers started going down, the cases started going down, so that they started opening up. And yeah, so finally a few weeks ago, we were able to start practicing as a full team again. And, with the next game this coming Sunday is going to be quite interesting to see how far we've been able to,
Well, so that I'd like to jump in here and ask, so tell me about the ball club. What do you guys look like right now after those first few practices back together? Where have you seen some big improvements, and where do you see the big improvements coming here before the next game?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we have a really good mix of veterans and not rookies, but people who have only been here for a couple of years, and so we've really been able to, during those times where we've practiced in groups of two, we were able to pair up a newer player with one of the veterans, and so really get that experience transferred over to them. So that was one of the things that we focused on during those trainings. And then as we move forward into the next into the actual games and game mode and weekly mode, is going to be focusing a lot on skills and technicalities, really building that muscle memory in all of those plays. So
that's great. And so this game that we've got coming up Sunday, is this exhibition game, or are we getting right into the season?
No, this is our season opener here. We're heading out of town. Yep, heading over to Paderborn. So it's a good distance away. It's about an hour and a half, I would say. Yeah, so we're heading to basically the heart of baseball in Nordrhein-Westfalen with Paderborn there, the Untouchables.
All right. Do you have a projected starter in mind for that game yet?
Yeah, so we're really lucky. We have a returning returning junior from coming up through our training program with our joint training with the Hare and the Lizards. And Fabian is going to be starting, and we're really looking forward to it. He's been making really good progress here, and has been involved all throughout the off season here that we've been able to. So really looking forward to having him start there.
Great. What's his best pitch, and what's his pitch that you're most excited about his development?
So he's got a really good fastball and really good placement on that. But the one that really changes things up is his slider. So he's got a very wicked slider. He gets that spin on it. He learned that from his dad. I remember.
Good strikeout pitch.
Yeah. I remember playing with his dad. I was on first base once, and his dad would throw the ball, and he put so much spin on it. It just kind of, you would think that it's going off to the right, and then it just comes right on back at you. So really, really wicked move there.
Well, exciting. That's great. So let's talk about the team a little bit. You said you've got a good mix of returning veterans and some people that are coming up through the ranks a little bit. And so let's go around the horn, talk about what the team's going to look like on Sunday when you get into that ball game. So we've already talked about the pitcher, and so who's the battery mate going to be? Who's going to be behind the plate?
So what we have Fabian. He's going to be pitching straight down to Patrick. He's actually been around for quite some time too, and he's really experienced behind the plate. Has a very good eye for the field, understanding where the base runners are. So he's got a good pickoff move and as well. So looking forward to having him. Moving on, if we go around over to
take me around the infield.
All right. Yeah. So at first base we got Ilya, and Ilya comes from Russia and has been playing baseball for several years now. He's got a very solid bat. He's got a very solid lockdown at first base too. In 2019, so we didn't have a season last year, but 2019 he was batting over 400. So really looking forward to having him.
That'll play.
Yeah. So opposite Ilya over there at third base, we have Toby. Toby's been he's been playing third base his whole career here. So really excited to have him back for this season. And actually he's been coming and learning pitching as well. So he's going to come in and probably pitch down the stretch, maybe for a few innings of relief there as well. So excited to have him. Middle infield, we have Stefan and Michael. So solid veterans there, know the position, know the game really well inside and out. So that kind of wraps up the infield. Really excited to that. Stefan 300 in 2019. So looking forward to have him in the lineup. And Michael, he's just a very fundamental guy. Also at the plate, he'll get those hits and driving those runs. So excited to have him there. Yeah. Good.
And so, what is your outfield? What are we thinking about for the outfield for this?
Yeah. So outfield is really interesting. So back in 2019, we actually fielded two teams. We had a team in the Landesliga and we had a team in the Bezirksliga. And this year, moving on up from the Bezirksliga is Mirko. He has come along really great in the outfield. He's a very solid outfielder. So he'll be taking in the command role there in center field. And in fact, we had him come in even in 2019 and play in the Landesliga. And I have his number here. He was batting 429 actually in the Landesliga. So, it is well-deserved upgrade there in center field for him. Next to him, we got Sven over there in left field. He's going to be, this is his second season, and he's really come a long ways, really learning from Mirko, learning from the rest of the team, the different paths to the ball and where to get that ball back in once it gets to the outfield. So very solid there. And over there in right field, that's kind of where we have a mix of different people. So we can put a lot of different people in. And so it's really looking at where do we want do we need somebody in the lineup and the batting rotation to to kind of shore that up, or what do we want to do with that position? So for instance, last in our scrimmage, we had Tim out there in right field starting. We switched him out with our backup catcher, who's a very solid hitter, so with Kevin. So not quite sure yet on right field, but we'll figure that out on Sunday.
Yeah, we're a few days out now, so it's a little bit hard to think, but we're just trying to learn the team a little bit. And it's going to be exciting as we work through the season and we watch what happens. We'll get to know some of these guys a little bit better throughout that, and that'll be exciting to see. Yeah. Great. So let's talk a little bit. You guys have been away from the ballpark for a while, and now you're getting back to it. Let's talk about maybe some of the changes that we could see happening at the ballpark going forward this year, maybe into next year. But are there any updates that we can look forward to, or just some upkeep that's happening? Kind of give us a rundown of what the ballpark looks like right now and where it's going.
So the ballpark, the park has an excellent field. It's one of the best fields out there. One of the things that we want to focus on is getting the dirt around third base. That's something that we haven't been able to get in yet for various reasons. But we also want to get the dugouts. The dugouts are one of those things where you kind of need to protect your players when they're sitting there. So that's on the list. A couple other odds and ends, like we want to get the score house moved from the original location. So we're on a former soccer field, and so the scoring hut is over there at midfield, so kind of off to the distance. So we're looking at moving that behind home and getting the scorer in a good spot there to score the games. So
that makes sense. And what about? Are there any conversations as far as video equipment to be able to help you guys with your training and be able to see what's going on and potentially put some highlights out there for your fans to be able to dig into and enjoy? Yeah,
so after the past several years, we've been kind of slowly getting into the whole video arena there with the camera up behind home plate. It's worked out really well. Good view of the whole field, and we've been using that after training. So the first training that we have after a game, we would go through and look at some of those highlights, look at some of those plays. We want to take that up a notch this year. So we've invested in a software called Dartfish, and Dartfish is going to give us that ability to go in and rapidly find those plays, find those highlights, be able to draw on screen so that we can move players around and really mark that up to really take that training to a new level. On top of that, it also gives us that cloud solution so that we can push those out to our players after the game immediately, so they're able to see that before they even get to training, and we can accomplish a lot more than with that. With that as well, there's the mobile app on that, and all of the video that we take then from training. It allows me as the coach to set up, for instance, a camera there while they're taking BP, while I go do something with some of the other groups, and come back later, analyze that film, send that out to the players so that I can give them an analysis of their maybe their bullpen session or their BP. So it's really going to take up our training up a notch this year.
That's exciting. That's going to be great for you guys. I'm excited to see how that works out for you.
Oh yeah, we're really excited about it. It is really happy to get a sponsor for that to make that possible this year.
That's great. Well, I think that has pretty much covered what we need to cover this week, getting into the season. I'm excited to see what happens on Sunday. I hope you guys go out there and really play well. I think it's just great that you're getting back onto the field, back to playing baseball, win, lose, or draw. It's just going to be great to be out there. And I'm really happy that the team's able to start playing again.
Yeah, we're all itching. We got the little taste of it a couple of weeks ago in Ennepetal in that scrimmage, and we're all just itching to get out there for real this time.
Well, that's great. I'm excited. We'll gather back here next week. We'll talk about what happened on Sunday and what we can look forward to the following week.
All right, thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Coach Pete.